If you're an entrepreneur, you have the possibility of higher earnings potential, and if you're successful and get your craft right, then you can build wealth pretty quickly. But not everyone has an inner Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Entrepreneurship isn't for everybody, and the majority of people end up working a day job, a night job, or more commonly known as a 9 to 5. Whether out of simplicity, whether it's based on the career or job that they do, or maybe even because they actually enjoy what they do. If you're currently working a day job, 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it, listen to me. You can be just as much of a hustler, just as successful as some of these entrepreneurs, and you're not a failure, you're not lazy, you're not all these labels that Instagram influencers and finance gurus put on people who don't choose the entrepreneurship route. It's a perfectly valid career choice. Plenty of people can do and are building wealth working a 9 to 5. And if it gives you any comfort, I myself work a 9 to 5. I don't live off YouTube. My main source of income is from a professional day job. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can build wealth working a 9 to 5. Let's get into the video. What's up guys, I'm Johnny. Welcome to Millennials with Money. I upload to YouTube every Wednesday and every Sunday, giving you content to help you take control of your finances today to create a bright financial future tomorrow. If you like what you see on the channel, I'd really appreciate your help in reaching more people by dropping a like on the video, subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications, and make sure you tell another millennial that this channel is where the good stuff goes down. Now, first of all, this video isn't about taking sides, despite what you may have heard in the intro. I recognize that there are benefits and drawbacks to both entrepreneurship and working a 9 to 5. I'm simply explaining in this video how is the best way to build wealth working a 9 to 5. Because probably for the majority of people watching, the reality is you're working a day job, working a night shift, however it is. You're working a fixed job to generate your primary source of income. Of course, there's some clear advantages that come with working a stable job. You have regular income, which is foreseeable, it's stable, and it makes it a lot easier to plan ahead in the future. You've also generally got a greater sense of job security, so you can go about your life a little bit more comfortable. And there's also, of course, opportunities for progression within a day job, a night shift, whatever you do. You can perhaps move up to a manager role, to a corporate role, to an executive leadership role, for example. And the majority of these roles, as you move up, of course, they'll come most likely with a pay rise. Now, despite these advantages, it's very easy to get comfortable, and that's something that you can't do if you want to build wealth working a 9 to 5. You need to be able to stretch your money as far as it can go to be able to make the biggest contributions towards building your wealth. So I'm going to give you 5 tips on how best you can do that. The first tip I'm going to give you is live below your means. Now, that doesn't mean go all out financial minimalism, live like a broke student if you don't want to. The key here is to avoid lifestyle inflation, avoid keeping up with the Joneses, and avoid trying to emulate the rich lifestyles that we really can't afford to live. Think about it like this. Everything that you spend on maintaining a lifestyle is money that you can't put towards building wealth and towards your financial future. Think about that. So a few concrete areas on where you can think about cutting back or reducing expenses, or at least keeping them under control: a rent or a mortgage. The general rule of thumb is that it shouldn't exceed 30% of your take-home pay, but I know coaches like Dave Ramsey, for example, who recommend even as low as 25%. And that's because if you, for whatever reason, get laid off or you have to take a pay cut, then you're not going to suffer too much in that circumstance. Other categories to consider are, of course, eating out. If you frequently eat out or you're frequently going out, then that money's going to pile up quickly. And also avoiding expensive, unnecessary purchases, and above all, avoid going into useless, bad consumer debt that will kill you financially. So my second point leads on nicely from this first point, and it is prioritizing saving and investing. Now, I'll repeat it again. Just because you're raking it in, it doesn't mean you have to spend it all, because spending isn't going to build you wealth over the long term. Investing your money and saving it is. The key here is to acquire assets. And the key characteristics of an asset is that it appreciates in value over time, or it generates a financial return. So some examples can be stocks, bonds, funds, property that you rent out to generate rental income. You get the idea. You'll notice that I didn't mention stuff like cars, homes, and expensive jewelry here. This is because, with the exception of a house that maybe appreciates in value over time, and maybe jewelry if it's gold, they don't generate any financial return. That's simply cash that's tied up that you will only get back if you sell those goods. And in most cases, you'll probably get back less than you originally spent. Point number 3 will help you stay on track with points 1 and 2, and that's to set goals. By setting goals, you're holding yourself accountable to something, and you're more likely to be intentional with how you behave with your money. If you have goals, for example, to buy a house, to become financially independent one day, to retire early, for example, then you're likely going to have these things in mind before you think about buying that 40,000 euro car. You know what I mean? The lack of goals, of course, will mean that you don't have something to hold yourself accountable to, and you're less likely to act intentionally with your money. So that motivation to save and invest is not going to be as strong in the end. The 4th point is to invest in yourself and invest in your long-term career. As I said at the start, you can't get comfortable or you'll stagnate in a 9 to 5. You've always got to be on the lookout for opportunities to grow and develop, whether that's a new role, whether that's taking part in a training course to get a new qualification, whether it's learn a new skill. The point here is the more value you can bring to your employer, the more likely you are to be able to have access to roles higher up in the company, which will give you more responsibility, more opportunity for development, and of course, more moolah. Obviously, it's not all about the money, but since we're talking about building wealth and you want to try and increase your income where you can, then investing in yourself is a good way to do so. Warren Buffett is one of the most successful stock market investors in the world, but he still says that investing in yourself supersedes all other investments. Nobody can take away what you've got in yourself, and everyone has potential that they haven't used. So, invest in yourself. And finally, you can consider starting a side hustle. Now, most people work in a 9 to 5 unless you're working some job with crazy long hours like banking. Will have some free time outside of work, and that is time where you can consider starting a side hustle to bring in a little bit extra income into the house. Maybe you don't want to be an entrepreneur full time, but maybe if you've got a creative side, if you've got a hobby that you'd like to monetize, if you want to start an online business, or if there's a small job that's close to home that generates even just a little bit extra cash and is worth your while, that's all extra money that you're bringing into your household and that you can put towards building your wealth in the future. One thing to remember here though is that it is a side hustle because it is not your primary source of income, and your main hustle, your 9 to 5, your day job, shouldn't be affected by your side hustle. So keep that in mind if you decide to go down that route to bring in some extra income. So, quick summary of the points we've covered on how to build wealth working a 9 to 5. Live below your means, prioritize saving and investing, set goals, invest in yourself, and consider starting a side hustle. That's all from today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out the Millennials with Money social media and internet pages, and also the other videos on this channel. I'll see you on the next one, and let's get this money.